Hello everybody, welcome back to another Weather Central forecast. We are having a fantastic day. Now in today's forecast, we will be going over a tornado outbreak that is to occur for today. Now I cannot stress this enough, how important this is to take this event seriously if you guys are within the areas that are going to be impacted by this. As like I said, all hazards are possible here, especially a couple large damaging tornadoes as well. As you guys will see later in this forecast, it is looking to be a very dangerous day for sure. But before we do start off with this forecast, I would like to start off with the disclaimer that these forecasts are my opinion. They are based off of model guidance and past occurrences of weather. For the most accurate and up-to-date weather, please consult your local National Weather Service office, as I will have more accurate and up-to-date information than I will on these major United States weather events, just like this event. If you guys do have any questions that you guys need an official answer for, please consult your local National Weather Service office, and if you guys don't know how to contact them, just look up your area's National Weather Service office and then contact information, and they do have that on their website. So please do that if you guys do have any official questions that you need answered, as they will have much more accurate information than I will on this. And I know that this is a very impactful event, so I would not want that information to be held up to me in case I am accountable for, lives lost from this event. So let's go ahead and go over to my forecast for this system. So here we are. In this red, you guys know the gist of it. It's just your general springtime thunderstorms, and that covers a wide region and sort of area. But once you start getting into this maroon here is where you're going to need to start making plans just in case. This is most likely just going to be hail and wind. However, especially down here east of Houston, Texas, you guys could possibly be seeing some isolated supercellular development. However, up through the Ozarks, it looks 0 to none. Mostly in this maroon, you're going to be watching out for hail and wind damage, and most of that threat has already expired today, but this is what I was thinking for today. Going down into this purple here is where we have some tornado warnings right now down into portions of Louisiana, as well as this will be for portions of Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, into portions of Texas, most of Texas actually, and this is where you could see those tornadoes start to occur. As like I just said, there is tornado warnings right now in the portions of southern Louisiana. If you guys know anybody that lives in that general area, please keep them weather aware and let them know that there is very dangerous weather occurring around them right now. So maybe they'll turn on their local TV station or whatever to get some very accurate information, because this is, like I said, I cannot stress this enough, it's a very, very dangerous event. And then going into this pink here is where I think you need to be, all heads up today. Especially later into the evening, you guys will get very, very bad, as I will show on the models. You guys do have a 45% significant risk of hail 2 inches greater in diameter, which is very, very large hail, very damaging hail. And if you guys do need official guidance, like I said, consult your local National Weather Service office. I don't want to give out any inaccurate information, so I would like for them to kind of clarify that as well. So like I said, if you guys are within this pink and purple, please stay weather aware tonight. For sure. Going into our National Weather Service watches, warnings, and advisory displays, red flag warnings up to the north, red flag warnings into portions of Utah there. We have some severe thunderstorm watches, as well as some severe thunderstorm warnings into New Mexico right now. A large area for a tornado watch here. We have some flood watches and flash flood watches for portions of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana for some very, very heavy flooding that is possibly going to occur. 2 tornado warnings down into southern Louisiana right now. Like I was mentioning earlier, if you guys know anybody within southern Louisiana, please check on them right now, as there is very, very hazardous weather occurring around their area right now. Here is the National Weather Services. We're going to be going over 2 of their mesoscale discussions which they have issued. These are very, very accurate. So this is for southern Louisiana here, right? In any of these counties, their mesoscale discussion is for brief tornadoes possible this afternoon. We are into the afternoon stage right now, so brief tornadoes is what they're saying could occur, and I would even draw that box a little bit bigger, because obviously the supercells can occur even 25 miles away from a point, as the models do they pinpoint a good idea of where it could be, but not the exact location. However, this is the National Weather Service, so please take this 100%, as they are the professionals on this. So brief tornadoes is what they're saying for portions of southern Louisiana here. Going into portions of Texas and eastern New Mexico, supercell development possible over the next hour or so. All severe hazards are possible. a tornado watch will be issued soon. Now, we did see that tornado watch. This is probably an hour or so old. However, it is still effective. They're saying supercell development will be possible over the next couple of hours, and it will really pick up later into the overnight hours. So here's today's categorical outlook. I think this is our 5th or 6th moderate of the year. Don't quote me on that. But moderate is a 4 out of 5 on the severe weather scale here. So this is not something that we're going to want to take lightly. Like I've said multiple times, even if you guys are just within this slight risk, I do expect some tornadoes to possibly occur. I will be going over tornado probability in just a second. But in this enhanced as well, you still do have a good chance of tornadoes. Just that hotspot's really going to be south, I believe, of Amarillo. Actually, Amarillo might be encompassing in this either enhanced or moderate. I do believe that might actually be Amarillo right there. And if that is the case, please, Amarillo, please just stay weather aware tonight. I can't stress that enough. Going in our tornado outlook here, we have a 2% outlining portions of Texas, Oklahoma, western Arkansas, southeastern Colorado, northeastern New Mexico, and for portions of Louisiana and Texas there. We have a 5% into portions where that mesoscale discussion was issued, as well as for portions surrounding this 10%. And yes, I did say a 10%. Usually a 10% equates to a couple large damaging tornadoes. I really want to stress this enough that this will be a very, very damaging and very severe event that will be occurring. So please stay weather aware. Going into our hail outlook here. Now, this was a hail-driven moderate here, not as much tornado. I did say you guys were going to be seeing some very large hail. We do have a 30 significant risk, a 15 significant risk, and a 45 significant risk, as well as we do have a 5 outlining that for portions of the Ozarks through portions of Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and surrounding areas. And like I said, we have a 45% significant risk of hail 2 inches in diameter or greater, which is definitely enough to damage your house, damage your livestock, because I know that this is more of a farming area around these areas right here. We'll be doing damage to livestock if those hailstones are being hurled at a fast enough speed. And even the cars, like I said. So if you guys do have cars out and you guys do have a garage that you guys can park them in, please do so, because damage is almost indefinite. If you guys are even within this significant risk here, I do expect some very large hail to occur. And I just want to say this right here. So we have, I'm just going to outline the 15 here, right? And then we're going to translate this right over to our wind outlook. Now you can see portions that was in that 15% and some that was in the significant risk has a 30% chance of wind damage. So that means very, very strong wind gusts. And that was in that significant hail risk, like I said. So translating those two, hailstones being hurled at a very, very fast speed with those wind gusts, very, very dangerous conditions. Now we're going over to current conditions right now. This is the HRRR. So this is really, really accurate. This is our accurate representation of what we're seeing right now. A little bit of a cold slot up here in the portions of the Ozarks, but generally, and as well a cooler slot into portions of central Texas. Generally 70s and 80s throughout most of these areas. 90s off to portions of western Texas and extreme southern Texas there. Moving this on even more, you'll see it'll still warm up over the next couple of hours, where we're going to get a very, very warm air mass to move in from portions of Mexico and transfer off to portions of the panhandle of Texas into Oklahoma as well. We're seeing 80s as a good general rule of thumb for this area right here that will be in that moderate risk, like I said. And still, warm conditions still being transferred off to portions of Texas and Oklahoma, even into eastern New Mexico. I know I really haven't gone over that much, but there is still warm conditions off here, and it'll still be very favorable, especially if you can get those supercells and precipitation to line up for those storms to really grow upscale. And like I said, very, very warm conditions, which will allow to very high CAPE values, which is energy for those thunderstorms. Going over to our composite reflectivity, we can see not a whole lot going on right now off to portions of Texas. But these storms over here will grow upscale relatively soon. But our main concern right now is for portions of Louisiana, eastern Texas, Mississippi, into portions of Arkansas, where we are seeing very, very heavy storms. We can see this is around where that mesoscale discussion was issued. And you can see why. Very isolated cells here that have some very high precipitation that will really encompass all of that, all of those perimeters, such as CAPE, wind shear, storm melophilicity, and all of that in that little given environment, and really grow upscale. Moving this on another hour out or so, you can see it really takes off here, and we can see a lot of individual cells into portions of eastern Texas, as well as for portions of Mississippi. However, their tornado probability up there is relatively low. We're still seeing isolated cells that can really pack a punch, especially these clusters as they haven't clustered up yet, and there's still these individual cells. I would not be surprised if tornado warnings do occur. However, I don't think it's too likely off to this area because it's not as much of a favorable environment. Obviously down here it is, but off to portions of eastern Texas, not as favorable of an environment. So don't know if those tornado warnings will really pop off there. However, we will have to see. We can see off by Del Rio, by that Mexico-Texas border there, we're seeing a very high precipitation supercell possibly. And this is going to grow upscale. Like I said, these storms that were off to the west are going to grow upscale as they try to press in. We can already see isolated cells up into portions of northern Texas there. We can see a good band of thunderstorms down into portions of the deep south. I wouldn't be surprised if we get individual supercells embedded throughout these linear sort of modes of this storm as these cells kind of try to I forgot my words there. As they're trying to separate from the pack, I guess I should say. Wouldn't be surprised if we get some individual supercells possibly. And still, we're watching this very closely just east of Del Rio, because this could pack a very heavy punch. We're seeing a very strong line of thunderstorms here moving through portions of Texas, and that's going to be associated with our threat for tonight. Now, this is around 0Z, so subtract 7 from that, so 12 o'clock. So right around sunset, maybe before, we're starting to see a good amount of thunderstorms really spark off throughout portions of Texas there. And you can see our scary thing is when we have this try to press through here, when we get these individualized cells out ahead of the front, is where we're going to be seeing our tornadic potential. Now, we can obviously see tornadic potential within the linear mode of the system. However, it's more common for them to occur with these renegade supercells out ahead of the front here. And we can see we are getting some strong thunderstorms into portions of the Ozarks, even still into the deep south, seeing those strong thunderstorms. This is definitely going to be a multi-area severe weather event. Obviously, over here, though, it's more that hail and wind threat. However, tomorrow does yield a 2% tornadic risk for portions around here, I believe. Now, we didn't go over that in this video because that's not really what I want to go over. I really want to go over this event right here, where we're still seeing supercells that are possibly out ahead of the front, and we're seeing some very high precipitation linear modes of this storm. Even if this cell here, even though it's probably not going to exactly line up like this, however, it's probably going to be something like this. If this cell gets individualized into one single cell, that'll really pack a punch, especially even these down south and west of San Antonio there. Moral of the story is very strong thunderstorms that is to occur for areas like this later into this evening / afternoon, and I would not be surprised if we do get 10 plus tornadoes. However, I don't really want to say that just yet because haven't really taken too much look at this, but we can see even just looking off of this very favorable environment, we're gonna have isolated cells. Even here we're seeing some clusters. However, they really haven't formed much of a linear segment yet, and we're seeing these little cells that possibly could pack a very heavy punch and have tornadic potential with it. Going on our CAPE here, this is still that HRRR. We're seeing a lot of CAPE right now. You can see some of that has been used up into portions of central Texas due to those thunderstorms, but we're seeing 5,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE down into portions of southeastern Texas, which is going to allow those storms to grow upscale and be very big hail producers with those lapse rates very steep. And in our target area for today, we're seeing just shy of 3,500 joules per kilogram centralized south of Amarillo, Texas there. And generally, a good rule of thumb is 1,500 plus. Moving this on, you can see that CAPE really, it's not very highly concentrated like it is down here. However, it's more of a favorable environment up here due to all those other perimeters that will line up as well, not just CAPE. I know I do go over Cape a lot, but that's not the only perimeter that you use for these thunderstorms. Now, I am going to try to add some more perimeters into this later, because now I know when I said that, I probably do need to start adding other perimeters just to prove or show you guys that there's a lot more things that goes into it rather than Cape. However, Cape is usually a good idea, gives you a good idea of where these very strong thunderstorms will be. So very, very high concentration of Cape, up to 2,500 joules per kilogram. And then you can see as Cape's really starting to scatter out a little bit for tomorrow's target area, sort of, into portions of the Ozarks, through portions of the encompassing areas around the Ozarks. Still very, very high concentration down here of Cape. If we can get those, cells to line up like we did see some very, very strong cells around Del Rio, could grow upscale and possibly add a tornado chance to it. Still very, very high concentrations of Cape. You can see this Cape's trying to move off into portions of the Ozarks and encompassing areas. Like I said, for tomorrow's target area, actually the target area is more like this, I believe. I really haven't gone over too much for tomorrow, as I was really concerned about today. So I really did want to make this video. Tomorrow I will be going over our threat for tomorrow, obviously. So I hope everybody does stay safe today throughout this event. Obviously, stay weather aware. Don't take this event lightly by any means. Please stay safe. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it so much, and have a great day.